Hi everybody. I'm going to try this video again. In this video, I want to share an epiphany that I had a couple of weeks ago, which I just shared in one of my classes, an advanced practice seminar for professional musicians, in which we discuss all kinds of things that are coming up for each of us that may be getting in the way of our best performance and best practice. So one thing that came up in the class today, actually a general thing that kept coming up, it was a recurring topic, was emotions that get in our way. For example, feeling a compulsion to practice and not having the time to practice, and then feeling guilty about not practicing, or feeling guilty that our technique isn't improving the way it should, or feeling depressed because we're having a few days where things don't seem to be working at all. Basically, the topic of emotions getting in the way. That was coming up a lot today in the class, and I finish up the class by sharing this epiphany that I'm going to share with you now, where it stems from, people out there these days are talking a lot about mindfulness. We all are aware of these practices and these ideas of letting it go, just drop it. There are all kinds of methods. There are spiritual methods. There are psychological methods. There's all kinds of stuff out there that we've all heard that you just got to let it go, right? Just move on. The past doesn't exist anymore. Just move on, drop it, let it go, right? Yeah, please. Hi, I just want to say hello. I see some people are here with me. So if you want to just put into the comments, it's so fun to have an interaction. And I'm here live, which I haven't done for a while, spontaneously. So I do want to say hi to those of you who are here. I see, hi Mila, hi Mary. This is great. Anyway, to go into this is like, we all know we have to let it go and move on. But how do you actually do that? As a musician, you know that when you're playing a piece of music, you need to be able to let go of thoughts that are getting in the way, right? You can't be playing along, whatever instrument you play, and thinking about the passage that you just messed up, or the passage that suddenly worked for the first time and it sounded great. You can't have your mind in the past of what you just played. And you cannot have your mind going off into, the hard part's coming up, or that's the section I can never play in tune, or you can't be out in the audience thinking, like worrying, well, what are they going to think if I screw this up? Or I wonder what the critic is going to say, what's going to happen. If you are not present with your full self, that means your mind, your body, your emotions, your soul, your creative spirit, if you are not fully present in the moment that you are sharing and expressing your music, then it's just not going to be as good as it could be. I think that's pretty obvious, right? So we know this intellectually, and I'm trying to make the connection for you, which I'm sure you've made before, that you need to be present, and you do need to be able to, and this is a skill, you need to be able to let go of extraneous thoughts. It can be positive stuff about the future or the past, as well as negative potential outcomes of the future and negative things that have happened in the past. It's kind of irrelevant, although positive things don't get in the way as much as the negative predictions and the negative regrets, right? But whenever you're not present, whenever you're not fully present, the music isn't flowing fully and freely in the way that it could be, that is going to make the best possible art that you can. So I'm always talking about how to bring the whole self into your music making, and that this is a skill that needs to be practiced in daily life. And this is why I have this system that I've developed called the Art of Freedom Method for Conscious Living and Masterful Artistry. It's about conscious living all the time. Whenever you remember can't be all the time. That's an ideal that we can aspire to, but let's not get perfectionistic about it, right? Whenever we remember, we want to be present, aware, conscious, and that we need to practice whenever we remember, without our instruments, with our instruments. But then you also need to know how to be present in the very specific technical things that you're doing with your instrument, okay? So again, I keep saying, I'm going to tell you this epiphany, but now I am going to tell you the epiphany. So the epiphany that I had was when I was having some emotional stuff going on one day, and I think it had been going on for kind of in the background for several days, and my mind's going, you know, telling myself what I know I need to do. Just drop it, Jennifer. It's no big deal. The past is over. Just let it go. And yet I wasn't really being able to let it go, even though I knew I was supposed to let it go. So suddenly, I can see myself walking down the street when this happened. Suddenly I realized the past really doesn't exist, except in my memory, which is just neurons firing and wiring together, like that string of lights up there, right? It's neurons that fire and wire together. That's what a memory is. And it doesn't exist otherwise. I mean, look around you. Everything you see is now. You do not see something out there that is from the past. It's not in the past. What you are seeing is now. What you are feeling is now, not the past. Same goes for the future. That concert you have coming up, that audition you have coming up, it does not exist except in your mind, which is literally neurons firing and wiring together. So somehow, I mean, I knew that, not new information, but somehow it hit me and it struck me in a completely fresh, new way that, oh, letting go of the past, letting go of the future, being present to my experience right now just requires the simple thing of stopping those neurons from firing and wiring together. And that's actually incredibly easy to do. And it's what I teach my students every day. And I've been teaching for years and years and years. And somehow, you know how you can learn the same thing, or you can hear the same thing many, 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 many times until suddenly one day you get it in a different way. So that day I got it in a different way, and suddenly I'm like, oh, well, I have the power to stop firing those neurons in that sequence. So just stop and drop it. That's what it means to let something go and to drop it. Okay, it is actually incredibly easy. And we do it in my system, and the Art of Freedom method includes what is known as Primal Alexander, which is touch-free, hands-free Alexander technique as developed by Mia Morales, my partner. I've been teaching this for years, and it's based on the origins of the Alexander technique, and one specific thing that we do is called constructive thinking. I can't teach that to you right now. It would take forever, and I'm running out of battery. By the way, I'm sorry if I run out of battery in the middle of this video. I hope that won't happen, but it was getting low. So anyway, constructive thinking is a way that we can actually practice doing this. We practice what Alexander called inhibition. That's a physiological term. It has nothing to do with Freud, by the way. But constructive thinking is a specific active thing that we can do with our thoughts to not be living in the past or in the future, to actually be present to our experience right now. This is a skill. I can't stress this enough. It's a skill. And when people study with me, I always start them off with my level 1 introductory jumpstart course. Because in that course, I give the step-by-step exact ways to practice doing constructive thinking. We start out with something called EMA, which helps us to notice what's actually happening in the body and the mind and the emotions, and to be able to shift our attention on purpose to the things that are already working, the things that are easy. And it's all about being present to our experience right now. So we practice that. And then I've made a video. It's on YouTube. It's public. It's in my Facebook group, The Musician's Advantage, with Jennifer Roig-Francolí. It's called The Cycle. The Cycle is a very, very powerful 2 to 3 minute awareness etude created by Mia Morales. And, you know, it takes 15 minutes to learn it from my video, but once you know how to do it, 2 minutes of practicing constructive thinking is very powerful. That etude, The Cycle, doesn't have a lot of movement in it, right? But you do learn how to do what I'm talking about, which is being present, letting go of extraneous thoughts that keep getting in the way. And then in the rest of the course, step by step, I'm teaching people how to do that in activity. First, we do very simple movements with the arms. If you're a musician, you need to use your arms, and you need to be able to be present and not be sucked into what's going to happen with that passage. I can't play these octaves in tune, or all the thoughts that get in our way, that sabotage the natural, optimal functioning of our system. You have to practice. You need to practice being present and aware. And the constructive thinking that we practice with etudes, with simple movements, are the way in to being able to do that in the middle of Tchaikovsky concerto, or, you know, really, really complex activities of playing your instrument, where there are many, many, many things the brain needs to be organizing and paying attention to. How can you be fully present with ease and simplicity so that you're getting out of the way to let your musical ideas come through your body and out your instrument? You need to be able to do that to make great art. That is what it is. You get yourself out of the way, you get your ego out of the way, and you let the music speak through you. It is a skill. You need to learn how to do this, unless you're one of the lucky people who can do this from the beginning and doesn't, you know, there are people who can naturally do this when they're young, but then they learn from the people around us who don't do this well, and they have a lot of hang-ups and guilt and judgment and self-criticism. All those habits really get in the way, and we pick them up as we grow and get older, and we imitate the people, our teachers, our families, culture. We learn how to interfere with what actually works. So, you know, even the people who can do this naturally from the beginning very often, you know, get in the way down the road. And then they have to unlearn all the stuff that they have superimposed upon their naturally well-functioning design. So anyway, the self-study course that I give all my students in the beginning teaches you step by step in very simple ways, and things that, it's like, if you do the awareness etudes I teach in there for just like 5 minutes maximum twice a day, my students are guaranteed to learn this skill and to then be able to start applying it to making music with effortlessness, with effortless ease. Because effortless ease is natural, and we don't have immediate access to it only because of not being present, because of those extraneous thoughts that keep getting in the way, that cause excess tension in the body and makes it harder for us to do what we want to do. So just to wrap up, this epiphany that I had really was very meaningful for me, and I think it helped my students today and my practice seminar, and I wanted to share it with you because truly, 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 it is the reality that the past does not exist, the future does not exist, and we need to be fully present and aware as much as we are able to. Again, it's a skill that we need to learn and practice. We need to be present in life. We practice it, and then you need to be able to bring that to your music making. It's the only way. It's the only way. So constructive thinking is the way in that I teach. It's very simple, very easy. My students learn how to do constructive thinking on day one of any program with me. So if this makes sense to you, and if you have had this idea of like when emotions get in the way that they kind of take over, and you don't have as much conscious control over yourself as you would like, that maybe you're kind of stuck in the past, you've had traumas, or teachers that terrorized you, or you have bad associations with being on stage and having a memory slip, and all these things. If you've got past stuff that's getting in your way and you need to drop it and let it go, but you can't, you need to learn how to do this, and I can teach you. And if you keep thinking about the future and you're worried about your future in music and your career, and you're worried about auditions, or you're worried about your upcoming performance as a professional or as an amateur, it doesn't matter. If you're kind of stuck worrying about the future and you have anxiety and performance anxiety, you need to learn this skill of constructive thinking and being fully present with your whole self right now. Because again, the past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist. You need to be able to drop it by dropping, like stop firing those neurons. Again, it's easy, it's simple, it's quick. My students learn how to do it on day one. So reach out to me if you're interested in this at all. It's very powerful. It's guaranteed to help you. Like I said, just a few minutes twice a day. Thank you, Mary, for showing up. It's really nice that you were here. And I am going to just wrap it up here. And if anybody's here and just wants to say hi, I'm going to check the comments. I love that you're here. Heidi is here. And Sandra, Mary just had to leave. Mila, thank you all so much for being here. And please, if you're watching the replay, or if you're watching now and you have a question or a comment, I would be so grateful for your comments, your feedback, your questions, just a thumbs up or an emoji. Your feedback really helps with the mysterious algorithm. And I'll probably post this on my Facebook profile either later today or tomorrow, and maybe even on YouTube if you think it's useful, and I'll put it up there. And then you can share it. If you have musician friends, colleagues, teachers, students who might be able to benefit from learning how to let it go, literally, then please, I'd be grateful for you to do that, to share it. So thanks again for being here. Anna, I just saw that you're here. Anna Marsh, hey, wow, that's a blast from the past. Nice to see you here. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Okay, bye everybody. Take care. Lots of love.